UPSHIFT isn't just a bodybuilding series. It's an opportunity for you guys to witness what happens when work ethic and passion combines. Last year I took you along on the journey. This year I'm going to do the same, but even better.
Alright guys, welcome back. Welcome back to UPSHIFT. We're doing an audio test. How's the audio?
Bloody perfect, mate.
Welcome back guys to UPSHIFT. Welcome to episode 2. We're joined here by lovely Mr. George Osborne. Georgie boy, as you all know him. So today we thought we'd take this opportunity to actually roll through a little bit of sort of what I can expect and what you can expect of how I will feel this year, how I will feel in contest prep, and I guess some of the expectations of an athlete when we enter something like this. Because for some of you watching, you may have well done like a contest prep yourself. You may well be thinking about entering contest prep yourself, and I want to make sure that with every single one of these videos you have a take home. You have something where you can think, right, I kind of learned that or understood that from AJ's videos and AJ's content, rather than you just watched a training session, for example. We will train today, of course. I hope.
We will, not hope, we will.
We will train today and you will see that, but equally we wanted to sort of have a little bit of a chat. So George, obviously you prepped back in 2019, that was your first ever prep.
Yeah.
From a perspective of like what you experienced, I know there's so many things you could delve into, but from an experience as a whole, what can people expect from a contest prep?
Well, we've seen obviously a lot recently about people doing preps differently, and I've always been the one for, right, if I'm going to dedicate, let's say 25, 26 weeks, whatever, to a prep, then it's going to be 25, 26 weeks of being strict, on point, no meals off plan. That's how I do things, because I'm quite an extremist, and that's not for everyone. I can understand that, but if I was to do something like that, I want to prove to myself that I can do that sort of thing. I can not eat junk and stick to a diet, stick to a plan. So I think it's very much down to the individual, and if you're like me, who has a quite extreme mindset that with everything they do they want to kind of take it to the max, then certainly, you know, set yourself that sort of goal, that goal. I wanted to make sure when I messaged you, I was like, I want to be shredded, I want to do something that I've never ever done before in my life and just experience something completely different. And I certainly think if you've got that mentality and that mindset, you'll do very, very well in a prep, because there will be days where, like, I've never ever experienced this feeling in my life where I literally felt like I had 20 kilo plates like locked around my ankles, and I was trying to walk down the stairs and it was just like dragging my ass. I've never experienced anything like that. I kind of miss it in a way, because I knew when I was in that phase, I was grinding and I was working, and I like that sort of feeling. It's not for everyone. Some people hate that feeling, but I sort of love that feeling of suffering.
Got to embrace it.
And then it got to the point where I was doing more. I loved the suffering more and more, and I was doing more than what you told me to. But that's a different sort of topic. We can talk about that some other time. But for me, yeah, the preps, like, if you've got a good mentality, if you want to do very well in natural bodybuilding, then you've got to be pretty much on point. You have to be on point with these side of things, for sure, throughout your prep. Food, training, you can't afford to change this, change that, because for me, that would send me nuts. I don't know about you, but that would send me nuts if I had to chop and change everything, like food choices and stuff like that.
For sure.
I just got into a routine.
Yeah.
Like routine, wake up, cardio, just having that sort of, just living like a robot. As weird as it sounds, like a dedicated, even asked my parents, they hated me during that phase. Didn't speak to no one, but I loved it. And I just said, right, this will be 6 months for me, just focus on myself. And yeah, if you've got that mentality, if you can do that, like I said, you'll do very, very well, for sure, 100%.
I think it's a sport of extremities, you know. It's extreme when you take it to the highest level you can in the off season, and it's also extreme when you take it all the way there in a prep, in a contest prep phase. And you know, I think what George noted there is that there's certainly sacrifices that will need to be made if you decide to take it all the way there in a contest prep. And you know, you can expect these sacrifices to have impact on your work, your relationships, your studies. And I think one question that I think is important to ask you and to sort of feed back to the viewers is, like, what would be at least one thing that you think is a prerequisite of where someone should be before they go into a contest prep?
So I get this in the DMs quite a fair bit. 18, 19, they're looking to compete. They just haven't got that, like, decent amount of training experience underneath their belt. Like, I trained 5 years before I competed, and the harsh reality of a contest prep as well, it will make you realise how much muscle you have. And for most people, most naturals, it's way less than what you thought, because when you're in off season, you're big, you're full, you look good, but when you get leaner, yeah, you look good, but then there's contest prep lean, and that's a different level. And that made me realise, shit, I'm 145 pounds. It's tiny, it's tiny. You can keep on 5'6", but it makes you really aware of, you don't have as much muscle as what you thought. You need to get a good amount of training experience underneath your belt. At least, I'd say at least 5 years for most people. In terms of just like life in general, you want to be in a good spot with work, studying, whatever it is. Like, if you're studying in your final year of uni, is it best to have a contest prep then? Of course not. When you've got your dissertation, this and that, you don't want to be doing that. So always make sure you're in that prime position, whether it's with your relationship, whether it's with your relationship with food, your training, you're the strongest you've been. Body composition is in a relatively good spot. You've got a decent amount of years underneath your belt. And then from there, I think having a coach, having someone that, especially in your first season, I think is really important to make sure that you're doing things properly, and just get a second eye, because sometimes throughout prep, you know, it's like your head can go loopy.
100%. And the thing is, like, you know, as you attested to earlier, the first prep, there'll be so many lessons learned. You know, my first prep was far from the perfect prep. Even last year's prep, me and George were talking about it, you know, just before we came out, there were things in that prep where I felt like there could have been better, and I kind of discussed it within episode 1 of this series. Hopefully you've already watched that one, where I sort of go over the fact that I do believe that there was more fat to be pulled off. You know, there was that extra 4 or 5 pounds, which is really horrible to take off, and those are the pounds that really hurt, but those are the pounds that really show on stage. And when you've got the muscularity to take it all the way there, which I believe after, you know, a long time training now, like pretty much almost coming up to 10 years in the gym, I believe that I have finally sort of got that muscularity to take it all the way there without taking off too much muscle and fullness and shape. Because we always talk about that, we always talk about, oh, do you not want to lose too much fullness, do you not want to lose too much shape? But the thing is, a lot of the time, being in true legitimate contest condition, as much as it hurts and it's uncomfortable, that will actually make you look bigger and have you standing out on stage far more than having, you know, 4 or 5 more pounds of fullness. I certainly think when you were on stage in 2019, everyone that mentioned me to you, you know, or you to me, sorry, was saying that your condition stood out by a million miles.
Yeah, and I mean, in one show I did the juniors, and a lot of them were a lot bigger than me, both height and muscularity, but some of, even like the show I did where I finished, it's like they classed me joint third for whatever reason.
That was a stacked show though.
Yeah, that was a stacked show, but if I didn't have the condition, I was under, compared to the guy in third, I didn't have as much muscle as him, but my condition was better than his. So I actually got an invite to the final and came joint third, just simply because I had that level condition, which they wanted to credit me for as well. So the federations, they credit you a lot. If you can bring it, they credit you a lot for it, more than what you think. And it's definitely something which I think, in my case, I should have had a better balance of fullness and being shredded. I was just focused on being as lean as I possibly can, and once you focus on that too much, in my opinion,
happy.
You're never happy. You want more, you want more, you want more. More lines. How many more lines can I have in my glutes? And there's only genetically going to take me so far. You know, size of my glutes can dictate how lean I can get them as well. So when you obsess about that, you need to kind of take a step backwards and realise that, yes, condition is very important on stage, but having that fuller look as well, being full, bubbly, is just as important in my opinion. And that's something which I probably definitely should have done better in 2019.
We'll fix that though.
Yeah, 100%. We learned our lessons from last time, didn't we?
100%.
Yeah, so
and I'm sure you guys are looking forward to following that.
Yeah,
because there will be a prep series coming out of that for sure. 100%.
100%.
All right, guys, we'll catch you for pull deadlifts today.
Yep.
Excited, and yeah, thanks for listening. perfect beverage.
Lovely beverage.
Do I look like that as well?
I was just doing me. I need this watching this.
Alright guys, so it is deadlift day. As always, the goal with these sessions, as I'm pulling down body weight and as George is pushing up, is always trying to be progressive in some nature. So throughout this session, I'm going to talk you through sort of like where I'm at with some of these movements and how maybe myself in a diet phase, you know, almost 10 weeks into a diet now and almost 20 pounds down, will search to make some form of progression within this session comparative to someone like George, who's in a surplus and will be making some slightly different forms of progressions, especially in his situation in a gym which he doesn't normally train in. So we'll try and make it as applicable for as many people as possible, and again sort of give some cues on how we can make these movements as effective as possible, and how we can basically just train the back through its entire range.
And I think I've turned, since 2019, I've been able to turn my weakness into one of my strengths. So some value in there as well.
Oh yeah. The conventional deadlift gets a lot of hate nowadays, especially in bodybuilding. It's seen as a movement that creates a ton of fatigue and maybe doesn't carry the best stimulus. When you're really good at deadlifting and you can be efficient and you can be smart with your load selection and you can control the eccentric, I think the deadlift is a fantastic hip hinge for bodybuilding. Yes, you can make it a more efficient bodybuilding movement. Yes, you could look at doing stiff legs. I do RDLs as well. But if you can recover from it, why the hell not? That's how I look at a deadlift, conventional deadlift. So I'm just gonna keep getting after it till the wheels fall off. Come on, George. Yes, George, come on. Let's go, let's go. Yes, there's one. Yes, stick with. And again, come on, come on. Yep. Lock it the fuck out. Dig in, one more, come on. Brace. Yeah.
Now we're moving into the first lat movement of the day. We've got 2 lat movements, so 4 sets for lats in this session. First up, we're taking this prime pull down with like a slightly supinated grip. I find this pull down with just inside a shoulder width grip allows me to keep my upper arm and elbow in front of my body and then just cue both of those down. Obviously, as we know, loads of people have gone over this, but as we know, if we can keep those guys in front of the body, angle that torso back a little bit but keep spine neutral, we're going to probably favour the lats in a pull down pattern. Alright, so like I said, progression model wise, my first set on this is always an 8 to 10. So I hit the top end of the rep range last time, and I know out of memory that execution to hit that 10 was pretty much bang on. So I know now that I haven't got to go back and revisit that 10 reps. I can now add load and try and hopefully match reps. So see, in a period like I'm in at the moment, I won't go like crazy optimistic with load increases. I'll go for the smallest load increment. In this case, the 2.3 kilos or 5 pounds, and I'll try and get as close to my previous 10 as I can. Okay. Yep. Yes.
Shorts. Come with me, yeah? Go.
Don't touch it.
Come on.
Yep. 9. Oh. So you can.
I noticed you just lean back.
Yeah.
Stay in your
Lean back and stay fixed.
Yeah. Don't go like.
Yeah. Don't pull yourself through. That's a big thing on lat pull downs is people tend to shift their torso forward underneath the cable, but then their upper arm and elbow isn't in front of the body anymore. It's here. So then all that encourages is shifting the torso back with the movement, rather than just having your torso in that fixed position. Yes, that's it. Lovely. Yes, keep cueing down. Good, George. Come on. That's it. Yes, good. Another one there. Another one there. Take it as far as you can. Yes. Little touch, and one. And one now. And one. Down. Yes. Boom. Lovely. Another thing is just like not restricting, but like not exaggerating that stretch position. As soon as you start to come into that exaggerated stretch, most people will start to initiate with an elbow path or an elbow finishing point, which will target more upper back, because they'll almost stretch like this and then they'll start pulling here, rather than keeping it sort of in that fixed range here and allowing that cue to keep down in your head.
I think with pull downs, like AJ said, going beyond your sort of natural range of motion is only just gonna use momentum. And I find just that shift, and that's when rotator cuff, shoulder problems start coming in, bicep problems start coming in. So with these, sort of leave your ego at the door and just fucking just do a pull down. Just do it smart, just be accurate. And come on. And short, and again. With me now. Let's go. Right, elbow down, elbow, all elbow.
There, come on. Yep. Yes, and again. Good, lovely. Yes. Boom. Big back. Yes. No.
Yes, come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Something I've been doing recently with my logbook is actually writing down the numbers I'm going to be hitting before I do the set. It almost has a very fixed goal in my mind of what I want to achieve in the set, but also it stops me from one, getting too greedy when I know it's not there, so I'll write them out during the session so I know how I feel, and two, obviously it stops me from underachieving and using fatigue as a bias to indicate my performance. Slightly rotate your grip there. That's it. There we go, pull into the pad, there we go. Keep your chest on, do not lean back, do not lean back. Rotate round more, upper back, there. Shift these hips back, keep that chest on, keep that chest there, stays there, stays there, stays there. Do not let it move. That's better, on the pad. Good man, yes. Yes, super strict, come on. Perfect, and again. One, all the way. Yes, 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 good, lovely. Yeah, so so always the urge on this is to lean back and create leverage, which will create a drop off in that end range. But what I found is you could load this machine up with plates and plates and plates and just lean back all day. But the reality is you're just creating a more favourable mechanical position to move the weight rather than challenging the muscles that we're trying to train more.
Let's go.
Oh!
Chest on the pad. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's it, keep that torso fixed. That's it, fixed torso, fixed torso. Good. Again. Yes. And one. So our second lap movement, Nautilus, well, it's actually gym shop pull down, but it's basically the Nautilus Explode pull down, which some of you may have in your gyms, a fantastic piece of kit. A really good profile for this stage in the session, just because we challenge the lat in the shortened position with the regular prime pull down. We get a little bit of a drop off here. So it's perfect for a little bit later in your pull days or your pull sessions as a lat movement. And we're choosing to do this single arm. This again, we can create a little bit of a better brace and stability through doing it unilaterally. And also for a lot of people, luckily not myself, I've never had problems connecting with my back, but if you have any sort of issues connecting with your back, I'd always recommend doing at least 1 or 2 unilateral movements during a pull days.
Yes, come on. Stay locked in. Down. Get short. Good. I'll take it down. Just down.
Lovely. Lovely. That's mega, perfect, fantastic. Yes, and I'm here, and I'm here. 1. Down, yes, 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 yes. Boom, lovely. Do some rear delts now. I've been favouring the rear delt rows recently, to be honest, over a reverse pec deck. I find like especially the stretch position on a reverse pec deck does irritate my front delt a little bit. I've had issues with like my front delt into my pec last prep, and I'm pretty sure it's from reverse pec deck. So since doing this, one thing I'm going to change immediately with George is his elbow finishing point. So if you look at George now, his elbow finishing point is like that's upper back. So if we aim to pull him a bit higher, so if we just pull him up to this position here, then we're trying to get it in line with these rear delts a little bit more. And then if we restrict the range to there, and we stay on them just a little bit more. You can quite easily overthink this. As long as you can connect your rear delts, the elbow position is always going to be quite high regardless, but just get a connection with your rear delts, get someone to feel them for you, preferably someone you know, and then just go at it. You all right, mate? Okay. I don't want to take partials on this. Thanks, man. Yes. Last set of the day. Hope you enjoyed this fantastic pull session. I sure did. It was phenomenal. Job done. Give that one a 9 out of 10. Wasn't quite a 10. Little bit of poor sleep last night. No excuses. That was my fault. But I reckon that deadlift set would have gone a little better with a good night's sleep. Me and George went gallivanting around in cars last night, so maybe not the best idea pre-deadlifts, but it was fun. And also, yeah, I was 187.6 the last time I deadlifted. I was 182 today. So that's a significant shift in terms of the way that the bar feels. It's weird because 180 felt like absolutely nothing. As soon as you put like a good amount of load on there, start to feel the effects of that body weight drop. Can't be a pussy, unfortunately. You've got to dig in. But that's still definitely a body weight PB. Anyway, we'll wrap up a little bit more. I'll tell you where I'm at in prep, bit of posing, and we'll wrap that up outside. All right, guys, that's wrapped up here for pull. Decent session overall in the books for both of us. And as you will see, probably in the background of this audio, 17 weeks out this weekend, 17 and 21 weeks out. It was 182 pounds this morning. So at the moment, it's just sort of like what happens pretty much every single diet for me, every single prep. Upper body comes in pretty quick. Lower body, not so much from the front this time. I definitely think that as the years have gone on, my quads have just stayed leaner. From the back, it's just not, it's never gonna work that way, I don't think. I think I'm always gonna have to push hard for my glutes and hamstrings. George said it, I know it. They're very fat, they're very soft in comparison to other body parts. Obviously what you're seeing, if I do choose to put the posing video in here, is very favorable lighting. So do not take this as where I'm at really condition wise. Probably in the next few episodes, I will start to have Josh or Jay film some of my check-ins in the natural lighting at home, just so you get an actual representation of really where I'm at, and then also you get an actual representation of when I am contest ready in that lighting too. So I think that's really important. Like what you see post-workout in that lighting is of course a little bit close to what you're going to see on stage, based on the fact that the stage lighting is very good and I'm going to be there with a pump. But in terms of like what I actually really look like and where my condition is actually at, that's in the natural lighting, and that's what you saw on my Instagram in the most recent progress photos at least. And that's what I endeavour to share. I think it's always good to be transparent. I posted a lot in the good lighting last prep. I feel like this time around I just want to share a lot of the sort of the raw and the realistic side of what goes on in a prep.
Yeah, because the way I see it, a lot of on social media nowadays, we always showcase what people want to see, but no one really shows the bad, the ugly side of it, the draggy days, the looking first thing in the morning and trying to pose and can't fucking pose because you're too tired and your joints are hurting and you've just woken up and it's like trying to pose and you're fucking out. All of that stuff you don't necessarily see. You just see good pumps, post-workout, great lighting, has food in you already, you know, that sort of stuff. So like AJ said, don't look at it and go, fuck, like I'm really behind where AJ is, because there is days where AJ wakes up, he doesn't necessarily look like that all the time.
I don't really look like I train like at home, to be honest.
That's he obviously is going to say that, of course, but yeah, just it's good that AJ is going to be showing you a lot of just what goes on behind and what it takes to truly get into condition. Because we spoke in there and I said to AJ, like, your back is very lean for, you know, 17 weeks out, but your glutes are very soggy still. And I said to him, you know, he can afford, because his strength is his posterior chain, so he can afford to lose a little bit of fullness to get those glutes in. And that's what he needs to do this time round. Yeah, you said last time, you know, your last year's prep, you didn't get lean enough.
Yeah, it was about 5 or 6 pounds off.
Yeah. So this year, you're going to make it happen and bring that fullness as well. So I'm excited about that, mate. I really am.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Thanks, guys.